Hola, this is Diana from Latin American / Mexican Spanish, and in today's short lesson, we are going to talk about relative pronouns. This is the third part about relative pronouns. That is a bit of an advanced topic, so if you haven't watched the previous videos, please go and have a look and then you can come back. Today, we are going to talk in detail about cuyo. This is one of those interesting relative pronouns because this is technically a possessive. This pronoun is emphasizing a relation of possession between the subject and the object of the sentence. Let's see that in an example. Él es un señor cuyos conocimientos de España son enormes. What is the translation of this sentence? In English, that technically is, he is a gentleman whose knowledge of Spain is enormous. What we care about in these two sentences is whose and cuyo. We know that señor is the subject in our sentence and conocimiento is the direct object in this sentence. There is a clear relation of possession in those two elements, and that is how we know that we need to use cuyo. In this case, conocimientos is plural. We are saying conocimientos, and it is also masculine. That's why we have to keep cuyos. However, this is a pronoun that, as the other ones that we talked about in the second video, change based in gender and number of the thing that they are making reference to. So this can be feminine, cuya, and if you're talking about feminine plurals, is cuyas. So it just changes based in the gender and number. Another one. Conocimos al joven artista cuyos cuadros vimos en el museo. What is the subject of this sentence? Artista. And what is the object? Cuadros. Can you see that there is a relation of possession between those two elements as well? The cuadros are of the artista. The artista is the owner of the cuadros, and that's why we use cuyos in between. Cuadros is plural and cuadros is also masculine. That's why we keep cuyos. I'm going to give you the ultimate system for you to finally know what is the relative pronoun that you need to use. This is a very systematic process and it's technically a system of elimination that is going to help you at the beginning if you're stuck and you need steps to follow for you to know what is the precise relative pronoun you need to use. It consists in 4 simple questions. You have a sentence like this one, and they're asking you to choose the correct relative pronoun. You don't know where to start. What is the first thing that you need to ask yourself to get unstuck in this problem? The question is, does this sentence has a comma, yes or no? If your answer is yes, que alone is not really an option. I would take it out, to be honest. If your answer is no, I'm telling you that 90% of the times you will be fine if you answer que. However, it has a little exception, and I will tell you that you will solve it in the question number 3. But so far, you know that very, very likely you are going to only use que. Now, let's go to the question number 2. First, you need to identify what is the direct object of your sentence, and then you ask yourself, is this direct object a person? If your answer is no, you can completely forget about quién, because remember that the relative pronoun quién or quiénes in plural, it's only used with people. If your answer is yes, boom, you have your answer. Quién is the correct one. The question number 3 is there a relation of possession between the subject and the noun? If your answer is yes, congratulations! You know that cuyo is the relative pronoun that you were looking for. If your answer is no, And if you also answered no to the first question, you have found your relative pronoun, and that one is que. This is why I told you that you don't have to go directly with the que pronoun if you answered no in the first question. You have to make sure that you go all the way to the question number 3 just to confirm that that is correct. So, if you have answered no in the question number 3, 100% the right relative pronoun is que. If you haven't found the right answer after the first question and the second question and the third question, you only have another option. And the fourth question is there uncertainty in your question? For example, information that you are hiding. Maybe in the question you had a conditional conjugation or subjunctive or an indefinite pronoun as poco, mucho, something that is not specific. Maybe you have a C somewhere in the question, and that C not as an affirmation. I'm talking about a conditional, like an if. If you have this type of uncertainty and hidden information, now we know that we can only be talking about one relative pronoun, and that is lo que or lo cual. Let's remember that these two are exchangeable pretty much, and lo cual makes reference to something that has already been mentioned before. Lo que can be used at the beginning of a sentence, and the information that lo que is hiding doesn't necessarily had to be mentioned before. It's not important for the context. If you are answering no to the fourth question, you have also got an answer. You definitely have to use el que or el cual. And that is it. You cannot forget that independently of the personal pronoun that you are using, you need to make the correct changes to make it feminine or masculine, singular, and plural. I hope that this grammar lesson is not too complicated. Relative pronouns are always a topic in advanced sessions, and this is why I wanted to make 3 different videos only about this topic. If this is still a bit unclear, don't forget that you can always book a one-to-one private session where I can help you with any specific question or doubt that you might have. I would like to also remind you that in our website, we have a full lesson about relative pronouns where you can find plenty of examples, exercises, and even a little test that is going to tell you if you already know the topic or what is the area that you need to study the most. Thank you for being here today. Muchas gracias, and I will see you next time. Adios!